very much, and it's a pleasure to be back on. And welcome to those who are just joining us, and for those who have been on. We just had a great Made in Africa panel, and one of the things I alluded to in this panel was the entrepreneurial spirit and ingenuity that we've seen across Africa, which is also in Europe. So in this session, we have 4 amazing entrepreneurs who are going to be telling us about their incredible businesses and what they do and how that is growing on the continent in which they are and how we can connect that to Africa. So it's almost like, how do we build the bridges now? How do you create that intra-Africa and then inter-Africa and Africa-Europe trade and business development, which was kind of a key theme from our panel. So I will start by, having our panelists introduce themselves. So tell us about yourself and then about your business. And then a little bit about, the status of the enterprise that they run. So I guess we will start with ladies first. Kiran.
Thank you very much, Eric. Always the gentleman. Morning, everybody, from actually a nice sunny UK today, which was good to be sharing that because it was rather dark earlier. My name is, and I'm very sorry not to be in Cascais like I was the last 2 years. Looking forward to it next year. So my name is Kiran Bagotra, and I am the CEO and founder of cybersecurity comparison website and marketplace ProtectBox. 4 years ago, when I left the UK government's Foreign and Commonwealth Office, I couldn't get over just how awful a deal small and medium businesses were getting when it came to cybersecurity. If it's not, a gazillion products that give, even me, a cybersecurity expert, a headache to have to go through, then, it's thousands and thousands of pounds and weeks wasted on trying to find consultants or a number of consultants and searching Google searches to get the right product. So, me being me, I put my very little money where my very, very big mouth is and built what you'll often hear me call my baby, cybersecurity comparison website and marketplace ProtectBox. So in an hour for free, any small and medium business anywhere in the world can find and buy all of their security in one place, whether they're technical or not. We launched globally just before lockdown, perfect timing as always. We've got several thousand businesses signed up already. And we're selling to them, and they're all around the world, and several hundred in various African countries, which I'll touch on when we get into the session proper. We have over 30,000 suppliers from around the world signed up as well. A couple of million, several million permutations of products from those suppliers available to people around the world. And we've signed up 4 corporate partners already, government and corporate partners, and we've got another 200 in the pipeline. And in terms of the partners, which will be of interest to some of the audience, in the same way that banks sell insurance as an add-on, ProtectBox can be sold as an all-in-one cybersecurity add-on by insurers, banks, accountants, lawyers, telecoms, anybody who's a data service provider to businesses, even governments. And we'd love to work with not just the Portuguese government, who I've spoken to before, but also African governments around the world. And we've had a lot of interest from African governments as well as Commonwealth Secretariat. And just on the final point, in terms of where we are at the moment, COVID has been a tough time for everybody, not least me. You'll see my hair has changed dramatically from my photos. I got fed up with my lockdown hair and just had to do it. But apart from the lockdown hair, we've had an awful amount of interest in iterating our product for consumers, for infrastructure, hospitals, job seekers, airplanes, airline companies, even governments in certain parts of Asia Pacific have been attacked consistently over lockdown. So what I'm keen to share with in part of the In Search for a Common Ground is that we're registering interest now for a B2C, B2G, which is government, and B2I infrastructure iteration of our product. And I'm keen to explore with the audience, exactly what you'd like. So get onto our website if you want to buy, if you're a consumer or a government or an infrastructure that wants to buy cybersecurity or promote us, or you want to sell, you're a supplier who wants to sell your products, then please get onto the website or get in touch with me. I'll be in the networking. Hopefully that wasn't too long. And I'll pass on to
that was
John.
a pretty good, introduction. Thanks, Kiran. Over to you, John.
Good morning, everyone. John White, can you hear me? So
yes.
I'm John White. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Impact Agri. So Impact Agri, we're a Swiss-based company who create agribusinesses, large-scale agribusinesses in Africa, pretty much only in Africa. We've been operating now for about 5 years. We're very much for our profit. We do this on a commercially sustainable basis, but our goal is to make a difference and make an impact as we go. But we very much have that drive. Now, why did we start? In a previous life, I was selling water infrastructure for a large multinational into Africa, and I couldn't understand why great business opportunities weren't happening. And so we realized it was an issue, not the quality of the land, of the people, of the business plan, but the fact that there was no real financing in place for large-scale agribusinesses in Africa. So we set up Impact Agri to become that middle entity and put together these companies. Now, what we realized was no matter how good a business plan you have, the harsh reality is that for greenfield agriculture in Africa, which is much needed, most projects, most businesses are greenfield in Africa when you want to start up. And to create the response to COVID, the livelihoods, to create the actual prosperity in Africa, to raise finance for a single project, no matter how good, is very difficult for the private market, because typically you need $10 to $20 million of equity to get going to do something that makes an impact, that is attractive to the offtake market and a big enough scale to be interesting. But the harsh reality is the private market is just too big. Ironically, there's billions of dollars of money looking to invest in Africa from development funds, from sovereign wealth funds, from DFIs, from impact funds. But those guys often won't get out of bed for $10 to $20 million. So at Impact Agri, what we realized is we need to build a portfolio of good business opportunities and wrap that up into something that is interesting to those funds. So as such, we've created a fund in Luxembourg and we're moving forward. We have a $350 million portfolio of projects. And our fund will be the fund that Cornerstone invests in those projects, and then we intend to bring, blended finance and other funds and debt towards making those projects happen. So what do I mean by our projects? Our projects, they're all commercially sustainable. We aim for above a 20% IRR. There's no need to take a philanthropic route. You can really make good business there, but we create livelihoods. We focus on higher value crops and processing. We try and bring processing from Europe into Africa. We like to work in an inclusive way because it's not only ethically sustainable, it's financially sustainable. What does that mean? We work with farmers as partners and bring them into a system rather than just having employees. We embrace interregional export and overseas export because this is why the free trade agreement is wonderful news. But you also need export for Forex, things like that. So we're very focused on that. We're very sensitive to the environmental issues and the biodiversity trade-offs. You'll find our projects are we take that into account, regenerative farming, looking after soils, reducing deforestation. We're focused on agri and aquaculture equally. And we see a huge link between mining and agriculture. Mining corridors and infrastructure corridors are being developed through Africa. It's a great catalyst to develop agribusiness, and we're working very closely with big names on that. So our projects, they're typically berries, fruits, fish, cosmetics like shea butter, spices, horticulture, processed alfalfa, things that the non-perishables. We're operating in Senegal, in Guinea, in Ghana. We're in Burkina Faso, Namibia, Zambia, Madagascar, and South Africa for now. We'd love to talk to people interested in being part of our fund. We'd love to talk to people who are interested in being part of our Swiss Holdco as well. It's a huge opportunity. And if you really want to make money, make a difference, make serious impact, there's nothing better than commercial agriculture done with the right heart and the right presence in the field and the right way of working with the local farmers to bring them to be real professional farmers competing on a world stage. It's totally feasible. Thank you.
All right, John, thanks for that great introduction. And now we go down to South Africa with Sibogeri.
Thank you very much, Eric. I think, John, I'm sold on your business already. Good day, everybody. My name is Sibong Lekumbi. I'm the CEO of a biotech company called IVAC Bio. Our purpose is to develop and manufacture quality animal vaccines and diagnostics. IVAC Bio is a 100% women-owned business, and as Eric introduced, we're located in South Africa. Our motivation in this area of animal vaccines and diagnostics comes from the fact that many animal health products are either not so effective to provide protection against disease strains that are prevalent in the developing world, or they simply don't exist to address disease challenges amongst various livestock. We at IVAC Bio, we seek to find local solutions to address the challenges of infectious diseases that get passed on from animals to humans. And our focus is to be able to manage and treat diseases whilst they're still at the stage where it's at protecting the animal and before the transfer of disease to humans. And so the way in which that we work, we greatly support the principles of One Health, that being the interconnection between people, animals, plants, and their shared environment. In terms of our stage of development, we are currently developing a number of vaccines for sheep and cattle, as well as diagnostics for poultry. And a number of our products that we've been developing are at an advanced stage, such that we're planning to start to launch some of our products in mid-2021. We are open to investment to take some of our products to market, and also for strategic partnerships to access markets and distribution networks beyond South Africa. We've largely been funded through grant technology development funding, as well as venture capital funding. And we've also successfully been able to attract investment for a small scale manufacturing facility, which we hope, as we introduce new products into the market, we will be expanding in the next 3 to 5 years. I think the aspect of biomanufacturing in Africa is particularly important to ensure that we have the right products and health innovations that could help us to manage, to treat, to protect livestock against some of the important diseases that affect them. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Simbogale, for that interesting and amazing biotech that you're building down south. Now we're going to go to Central Africa, and we have Emmanuel from Cameroon.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Emmanuel. Okay, I'm Emmanuel, founder of and CEO of WeCare. The problem related to the access to medical information has always been a gangrene for a population and for the medical professional in Africa. Many prodigious victims have lost their life for lack of information related to the illness. My father died in June 2018 because the doctor did not have the right information to be able to take care of him at time. There's the need for the establishment of secure system for popularizing medical information dedicated to various targets, so patients, medical staff, institutions, resources. So to solve this problem, we have developed WeCare, which is a platform which aims to reference and popularize access to medical information, which will promote rapid decision-making in the care of patients and improve in the health condition. WeCare is a simple and scalable health platform that allows users to secure, save the medical data, have access to it at any time, and finally make appointment with health professionals for physical or online consultation to telemedicine. It's also a digital health record that allows health facilities to quickly have reliable and up-to-date information on patients and it allows public authority and international health institutions to have enough data to carry and target health action to prevent, curb, or even eradicate certain pathogens between maybe coronavirus. Since the start of the pandemic in Cameroon, we have improved our solutions we care to help the government and in the fight and to allow patients to continue to be treated without running the risk of being contaminated by moving to the health center. We have added the telemedicine module for remote consultations and exchange forum between patients and doctors to allow our user to ask all questions about the coronavirus, but also and other pathology directly to health professionals for avoid the spread of fake news. In that case, we reach 50,000 people and 25% of the people considered on the platform we treated remotely. The objective in Africa, the objective of WICARE in Africa in general and in Cameroon in particular is to improve and facilitate the care of patients in our hospital. So our long-term vision is to have a completely security platform for exchanging medical data, which allow doctor to seek the advice of a colleague who is a mile away without moving and almost in real time. We allow the patient to have access to his data wherever he sees for rapid treatment. But it's not all about WICARE, because it's many things. At the moment, we already have $50 of investments, and we need 100,000 euro, which allow us to continue deploying in Cameroon and continue to bring health and well-being to all, and also to feed our intelligence artificial. We continue to improve in care, our hospital, and to reach 23 million people in Cameroon. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Manuel, for also that amazing introduction to WICARE, which is really an interesting approach to healthcare delivery, which followed sort of very interestingly Sibogale's company that is in biotech. And then obviously, John told us very much about Impact Agri and the impressive stuff that you're doing. And then Kiran also told us about cybersecurity, why we need to protect ourselves. And so we have 4 amazing businesses, as you can see, 2 from Europe and then 2 from Africa. And we see that they're from healthcare to agriculture and to cybersecurity. So a very nice distribution of businesses, those that are, early stage and those that are advancing. So I will now ask the panelists to kind of address the market, depending on where you are coming from. So what is your immediate market? What is your potential market? And what is your future market? And this time I will start with Simogale in South Africa.
Thanks, John. Eric, sorry. In terms of our markets, our immediate markets would be, seeing that we're located in South Africa, would be the SADC region. Animal diseases know no boundaries, know no borders. And so infections will cross the boundaries, and therefore it's necessary to have a coordinated approach to fighting infectious diseases. For this reason, what we try and strive to do is to have our products available, accessible, and within the SADC region. What's very interesting as well is that climate change is changing the course of disease, and you're finding that some of the diseases that were geographically located in Africa, for example, are starting to spread to other regions of the world. So you start places like Europe, places like Middle East, and the like are starting to see new strains of diseases or just new diseases that never existed before. Now, having developed the kind of health innovations that are necessary to control and manage those diseases, we're in a very good position of supplying other regions, for example, Europe, with the kind of products that will assist with the diseases that they're now starting to find are occurring in those sort of regions. So, for an example, a disease like African horse sickness, which was very prevalent in Africa. There are cases of African horse sickness that are starting to emerge in Europe. We have the capacity, the capability to produce vaccines against such a disease, and therefore to collaborate with European partners in terms of addressing the emergence of new diseases. So what we're seeing is initially, yes, our focus is Africa because our interest is in developing health innovations specific for diseases prevalent in our region, and as in future to look more broadly to say how can we then assist other regions in terms of fighting infectious diseases and fighting livestock diseases.
Thank you very much. And now go to Emmanuel. You are from Cameroon, so tell us about the immediate market, the future market, and the potential markets that you're going to be looking at with WECA.
So our market is the first time Cameroon because we are in Cameroon, and then the good charity begin with itself. So we start in Cameroon. In Cameroon, the potential, the whole market is 23 million people. But the market we need to reach now is only 6 million people because the person who are available to take happily the technology we made. So when we will finish the Cameroon, the all Cameroon market, we will try to deploy in other country in sub-regions, which have a market close to test our capacity for adaptation and more to all other African countries. So we start with Cameroon, then we try to other country in sub-region, and then we try to reach all the Africa countries.
That's great. Thank you, Manuel. I know that your primary language is French, and so great that you're able to come through in English that well and put it out there. But we get the context that Cameroon, Africa, and hopefully Europe as you grow the business. So we'll now go to Kiran. Kiran, what's your market potential, future, and immediate?
So I'll start with catchphrases for each of the three and then very briefly go into each one and the size of the market. So for immediate, I would say artificial intelligence or AI security for all, or security for AI security for everyone. Future, I would say AI security that lets you build back better. So that's got sustainability, that's got diversity in it. We've already been doing that, but it's very much tailoring that to the current post-COVID crisis. And, and I'll pick up on some themes that were brought up yesterday. And then in terms of the potential, that catchphrase, I would say, is protection. So artificial intelligence, AI protection that goes beyond just security for everyone that lets you build back better. And the reason I've picked those straplines is because we've already got in the pipeline interest from both end users, but also partners to build out all three of those. So if I go back to the immediate, AI security for all, as I said, we're a B2B security marketplace at the moment. Our total market size that we're aiming for, if we take 5% of the current world market, is $2 billion of income. And that could be attained within the next 1 to 2 years. The next iteration, so the future, which is AI security marketplace for all that lets you build back better, that is the B2C, B2G, B2I that I mentioned at the start. That in total, as a security, just on the security front, we're looking at something like, I think it's $6 trillion that is forecast for 2025 as a market. And if we just take 0.5% or 1% of that in 2025, we're looking at $20 billion worth of revenues. I like big numbers, but let's see if we can get there. But in terms of the Build Back Better, where diversity inclusion has always been part of our message. I'm an Indian woman by origin. I'm a sole founder. I'm a non-techie. I've not had any funding. I've had to fund this myself. I was an investor before, so there was no reason why I shouldn't get funding. We are just institutionally disadvantaged. So I've always had it in there, but increasingly now, especially for technology, and not just for technology, I would say for healthcare, for all industries, but anything digital, end users are becoming particularly discerning about who they buy from. They want to buy from companies that care about the climate, care about climate change and care about diversity and inclusion. So whether you like it or not, whichever bit of it you pick, you kind of have to build it in now. We've always had it in, and ours isn't just gender. Being in cybersecurity, neurodiversity is a big one. We've always had programs for students and retrainers from things like the military, from return to work moms. We've always done that. We just want to do it on a more formal basis and actually put those into our metrics. On the climate change front, security is just one of the worst offenders when it comes to climate change. We put out the most emissions. So our architecture has always been net zero. What we're also looking to do is put in a score. So we do reviews and ratings on all the products that the security products that people buy from us. We're working on, and we're looking for grant funding or any sort of institutional funding to help build that out as a climate change score. We've started working on that, but the data and access to proper data sets to train our AI to do that is the hard thing. But we're working on it, and we will get there, because I never say never is another one of my mottos. And then potential, the AI protection that goes beyond security marketplace for everyone that builds back better is taking the first two iterations and then doing it for non-security. So building out the marketplace and that AI, training it for everything that's not security based. And we've already had interest from a hospital in the UK that wants us to convert our security marketplace to a well-being marketplace. So taking mental health assessments for key workers and making that the beginning of where we have a security questionnaire, we would have a mental health assessment. I would reorientate our algorithm to do the matchmaking and bundling for health, and then our marketplace of security suppliers we would convert to a marketplace of health and well-being service providers, but we'd use essentially the architecture that I've built, but to do it for health. And we've similarly had interest from South Asia, from a waste management company who are collecting data across a huge continent that is South Asia on waste management, movement of it, how it all works. But it's all a very manual process. So where I can add value, or ProtectBox can add value, is that we can convert what is essentially an AI marketplace as a service for this waste management company. And we've had several other interests. And then, anyway, I babble on, and I will stop, and I will let John do his bit.
Yes, over to you, John.
Hey, well, thank you. So, the potential for agriculture really is staggering. If you take UN stats about Africa, there's something like 300 million hectares of arable land available. If you don't, and that's excluding protected areas and deserts and and populated areas and cities and things. If all my dreams come true, I'll still be an amoeba in a massive pond. It's an amazing opportunity. That's the reality. And our focus is to focus on countries where we can do business well, where we can establish large-scale agribusinesses and employ people in an inclusive way. We're going after the large niches because the niches are massive. You don't have to go into the mainstream commodities to make money. You can do it in tree crops and in fish and in blueberries and things like that. So we're focusing on those niches. Our plan is to roll out $500 million in the next 10 years, which sounds a lot, but it's 10 serious agribusinesses, and we work with strong local partners. We have the business plan lined up, and the key has been to put together the cornerstone funding, because that's just it. Unless you do it yourself at the moment, that's the reality. It's been impossible for us to find it. So once we have this cornerstone thing there, then we'll be rolling these businesses out, and the potential's enormous. And what I really like about is the impact side, because okay, they're commercial, we'll be making a return for our investors, but at the same time, we're making returns for the local partners in a much better situation than we are now, and creating livelihoods. If you create 5,000 jobs on our shea butter project in Burkina Faso, the first factory we're going to build, and we're in